Star Wars 7x7 episode 2024. Well, I thought we were going to talk about Star Wars Resistance today, but then people started freaking out about the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, and so let's calm down and talk about it here. Punch it. Hey Rebel Rouser, I'm Alan Voivod and this is Star Wars 7x7. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode. So, gosh, I feel like I knew something was coming. I'm not saying I knew what it was or that I had any inside sources or anything, but I've been looking at Twitter on and off during the day today, Friday that I'm recording this. I don't know why, I felt like I was looking for something that wasn't appearing, and finally I went off and was able to play racquetball at the gym. And I come back after 2-3 hours and suddenly there are 75,000 tweets about the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. So something is crazy. All right, and so let's talk about what the deal is and then let's set the record straight. The rumor started, and it's a little bit difficult to tell exactly where it started. There was a website called Fandom Wire that first posted a story saying that the Obi-Wan Kenobi series had been canceled. And then that seems to have been picked up by, or maybe Fandom Wire picked it up from, a Twitter account for Discussing Film, and Discussing Film is a website and a Twitter account I've seen every so often reporting on rumors and stuff. The most recent Star Wars related thing that I saw from them had to do with the filming of the Cassian Andor series. But the thing about this particular Discussing Film Twitter account is that if you actually looked at the Twitter handle itself, it was misspelled. So even though it was using the graphics and the titling of Discussing Film, it wasn't actually the Discussing Film account that was saying this and quoting Disney Plus as the source of this, for pity's sake. So you've got a Twitter account that is pretending to be someone else's Twitter account saying that Ewan McGregor has walked away from the series because of creative differences. And you've got Fandom Wire picking up on this story. Whether it was their own thing or whether it was from this Twitter account is unclear. But then other outlets started picking it up, and I saw a note from WeGotThisCovered.com saying that Fandom Wire has been a source of reliable breaking news, rumors, and that sort of thing in the past. Look, that may be the case, but from my own experience, 5 years I've been doing this podcast, 5.5 years now, on a daily basis, and I have never come across Fandom Wire until today that I'm recording this episode. They have not been on my radar at all as a potential breaking source of Lucasfilm news whatsoever. But apparently they do have enough of a reputation that it blew up, and ultimately Ewan McGregor's own representation had to get involved. They came out and said, nope, this is 100% false. Ewan McGregor is still attached to the project. The project is still proceeding apace. Folks like Anthony Breznican checked with their sources, and Clayton Sandell checked with his sources, and yeah, everything we're hearing about this is that it's not true whatsoever. Furthermore, I have been checking out what The Hollywood Reporter and Variety and Deadline Hollywood are saying or not saying about this, and they've got nothing about it whatsoever. And if this was in fact happening, if it was legitimate, then they would have reported on it. I mean, think about how yesterday on the show we talked about the Taika Waititi news rumor about him potentially being in early talks for a Star Wars movie. That was first broken by The Hollywood Reporter, and not long afterward, both Variety and Deadline Hollywood checked with their own sources and said, yeah, this is legit. And again, like we talked about yesterday, they're not saying that it is official that he is in early talks. What they were saying, what Variety and Deadline Hollywood are saying, is that yes, they are hearing the same rumors that The Hollywood Reporter is hearing as well. So they confirmed the existence of those rumors, but that doesn't necessarily confirm the fact that Waititi is actually in early talks for a Star Wars movie. And I would like to give a shout out here, now seems to be a good time to do it, to Darth Mucky on Twitter, who happens to be a patron of the show. Thank you so very much for supporting me and Star Wars 7x7. And he's the one who reached out to me initially to say, do you know anything about this Obi-Wan Kenobi business? And that was what first alerted me to the fact that Twitter had blown up about this situation. So thank you very much again. And why don't we actually take a moment to talk about what is legit and real about the Kenobi series? So we'll do that right after the break. Stay tuned. Hey Rebel Rouser, I've made some changes to the asteroid belt level at patreon.com/SW7x7, and they are all with sponsors in mind. So if you want to get the word out about your business, your product, your service to a dedicated Star Wars audience, then please check out patreon.com/SW7x7 and look for the asteroid belt level for details. Again, that's patreon.com/SW7x7. Welcome back. One thing I forgot to tell you is that after the foofara happened, the folks at Fandom Wire actually updated their story and said that it's not canceled, that their sources clarified that the series would be delayed, but again, sources in other places were saying, including Ewan McGregor's representation, that this is not true, that the series is continuing to proceed forward as expected. So here's what we do know about the show already. When it was announced at D23 in August of 2019, Kathleen Kennedy said that all the scripts were written for the show and that it would take place 8 years after the events of Revenge of the Sith. And Ewan McGregor, of course, is attached. Apparently, it was initially being developed as a film and then became developed as a TV series for Disney+. Deborah Chow is going to be the showrunner for the series, and she, of course, has already had a lot of success as a director of episodes of The Mandalorian for Disney+, so that's already a good note. Hossein Amini is the writer of the series, and he has a number of screenwriting credits to his name, TV show credits. The Alienist is his most recent creation, and he actually does have a bit of a Star Wars tie in a way, because he was the director. His feature film directing debut was the adaptation of a Patricia Highsmith novel called The Two Faces of January, which included one of its stars, Oscar Isaac. So there you go. There is a Star Wars connection for you right there. And according to Kathleen Kennedy, filming is supposed to start in 2020, but when in 2020, we don't know. That hasn't been announced, but there hasn't been any other suggestion from any other source that it would be delayed in 2020, pushed further back down the line or anything like that. So, yeah. Easy, Tiger. All right? Don't freak out about Obi-Wan just yet. Seems like at this point in time, there is no official word about anything being wrong with the series or anything being different from what we already know. And if that changes, if it turns out that we hear from any either A, official source, or B, a more reliable source, that something is happening in the background, then obviously we'll talk about it on the show. But for now, that is going to do it for our discussion about where Kenobi stands, and that's going to do it for this episode of the show, too. Thank you so much for joining me for it, as always, and may the Force be with you wherever in the world you may be.
Star Wars 7x7 is not endorsed or sponsored yet by Lucasfilm Limited, Disney, or 20th Century Fox, and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Star Wars, the Star Wars logo, all names and pictures of Star Wars characters, vehicles, and any other Star Wars-related items are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of Lucasfilm Limited or their respective trademark and copyright holders. May the Force be with them. All original content is copyright 2020 by Star Wars 7x7. We hope you love it.